Have you ever stopped to ask yourself what's the difference between feelings and emotions? So let's start with a more scientific definition of feelings versus emotions. Emotions are low-level responses that happen in the brain that send biochemical reactions to the body, altering your physical state. Therefore, emotions are much easier to study than feelings. They can be measured by blood flow, brain activity, facial expressions, and of course, the most obvious, body language. Feelings are mental associations and reactions to emotions that are usually measured by personal beliefs, personal experience, and memories. You feel an emotion in the body, it sends a little map to your brain says, oh, this is how I'm feeling, and therefore you say, I am feeling angry, I am feeling sad, I am feeling happy. The problem with that is that you start labeling yourself. You're creating a story around this feeling. You start to believe it, and therefore you start to live your life by that feeling. And just like your name, I am angry. I've owned it. A different way of looking at feelings and emotions is that feelings are natural. We have hundreds of them a day. They come and they go. Feelings last about 45 seconds to a minute and a half. Emotions can last years. If we can learn to let feelings come and go just like thoughts, then our lives will be much more peaceful. But what tends to happen is we claim and identify ourselves with these feelings. Let's say, for example, I feel angry, and I express to everyone how angry I feel. I talk about it all the time. I begin to label it. I create a story around it, and I start to identify myself as an angry person. Therefore, I start to emote anger. I live with anger everywhere I go. I spread anger everywhere. Anger controls me. Anger is how I identify myself. Anger is what I live by. And even though I actually might not be an angry person, I might be a lovely person, I've allowed this feeling of angry to become an emotion that I'm emoting, and it can last for years and years and years. So just as meditation teaches us is to take thoughts and to observe them and to just let them come and go, it's important to understand the difference between emotion and feelings, because we can actually do the same thing with feelings. Feelings do not identify who we are. Therefore, we have to be really careful with the language that we use. Instead of saying, I am angry, how about saying, I am experiencing anger, understanding that the anger will come and go. And I don't have to hold on to it. It doesn't have to become my story. In the past, I identified tremendously with my feelings. I would always actually say, I'm a feeler. And I was definitely a feeling, and I definitely gave those feelings importance, and what it created was a lot of chaos in my life. I always felt a state of anxiety or anger or rage or extreme sadness, or it was always this yin and yang of up and down, like I was on an emotional roller coaster constantly, because I was giving all these feelings so much importance. Whereas in the past couple years, I have actually stopped having those gossipy conversations with my girlfriends. I'm feeling this or I'm feeling that, or even telling myself these stories and holding on to them. Of course, obviously, I still feel. Feeling is completely normal, and I don't repress. I'm very honest with them, but I also let them go. And this has definitely created much more peace in my life. So let's not get confused. It's not about repressing these feelings. It's actually observing them, acknowledging them, and then letting them pass on by. This is why I really don't like labels. When you label something, it kind of becomes your bitch. We are not attached to anything, therefore we can experience everything, appreciate everything, be grateful for everything, and make every moment new. One love.